We have to hail up people like Naomi Campbell, because it's people like her and others who stood up at some personal cost to them to say deporting people who have already served their sentence in the UK was wrong. There was no need to deport these people, particularly young people, back to Jamaica. So we have to hail up Naomi Campbell. Hail, hail, hail up Naomi Campbell. For far too long, we as a community in the UK have been living like cowards. We seem to spend our entire life on our knees. Are we not a shameful people? We also have to hail up the striker for Manchester United, Marcus Rashford. He managed to shame the government finally into providing food over the Christmas period for hungry school children. So we must hail up Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford is a truly wonderful, wonderful example of a young brother doing good. So obviously, the ruling elite and their dogs in the media have been attacking Marcus Rashford at every opportunity. Now, you might not be aware of the attacks on Marcus Rashford. Okay, play the tape.
Why are you being told as MPs by the Conservative whips to gang up against Marcus Rashford?
I haven't been told to gang up against
Okay,
Rashford.
so the whips have issued a statement and with suggested interventions, a memo to MPs, one suggested intervention. When Labour were in government, they refused to extend free school meals into holidays. These sort of comments should be put onto Twitter if Marcus Rashford talks about kids not getting free school meals. This is a footballer who wants to put food in kids' bellies, taking on the government, and you're ganging up on him. I mean, that's pathetic.
Now, the Tory MP went on to say in the interview that he had not personally attacked Marcus Rashford. So his hands were clean. But others in the Tory party and those in the media have been attacking Marcus Rashford. The Conservative Member of Parliament for Mansfield, Ben Bradley, put out a tweet saying that the school vouchers, or the free school meal vouchers to be more correct, that Marcus Rashford was campaigning for would end up in crack dens and in brothels. In other words, there was no need to give these children anything because they wouldn't receive the vouchers. Now, don't play dumb. The reference to crack houses by Ben Bradley was to send a signal to the ruling elite and the middle asses, or what you might call the middle classes, to send them a signal that these school vouchers would be going to the undeserving black community or black children. he was sending a racialized signal to say, these are the children who are going to be getting your taxpayers' money. Don't think what Marcus Rashford is doing is just without a racial component. You see, the darkies are going to be getting free food. Sorry. How much are we talking about in terms of real hard cash? Well, we're talking about £40 million over the Christmas break, or £3 per day per child. Apparently, the mega rich Rishi Sunak was the biggest opponent in the government of giving £3 per day for a school lunch voucher over the Christmas period. The biggest opponent. You see, wealthy people who live in a world of privilege and largesse. Rishi Sunak's wife's family are multi-billionaires. I mean, multi-billionaires. You see, these people have a true hatred for anybody who's not in their class. Anybody who's struggling, well, it's your fault. It's not theirs. Anybody that needs a hand up or leg up, no, do it on yourself. We did. They truly hate anybody who's not from that elite class. We need to wake up. I point these issues out to say that we need to re-evaluate who these people really are. There needs to be a reset. Now, I know you're thinking that I'm making all this stuff up and that it's not as bad as I'm saying. But I would encourage you to look at our recent history. After the 1981 uprisings in England due to the brutality from the police, Lord Scarman produced the Scarman Report. And instead of the Tory party implementing recommendations from the report, they basically put the report to one side. So things kicked off again in 1985. The government then rushed to find ways to placate our communities. One of the ideas was to invest in young people in Tottenham and in Handsworth, where some of the big uprisings took place. Well, obviously there's an argument in cabinet, in government, and Oliver Left-Wing wrote on recommendations to Mrs Thatcher that £10 million shouldn't be invested in our communities because, and I quote, the money, i.e. the £10 million, so the money would only end up in disco and drug trade, end of quote. And that was in 1985. Now, I know some of you are accusing me of making all this shit up, right? But we have the lived experience, what they might call the empirical evidence. Since 1985 through to 2020, has there been any major investments within our communities, the African or black communities in the UK? Now, those of us who are old enough can look around us and say, has there been that investment? And the answer has to be no. So no, I'm not making this shit up. It's our lived experience. The Windrush scandal and the go-home vans really happened. We know they happened. This is the British telling you who they really are. They're telling you to your face who they really are. And for some reason, you choose not to recognise what they're telling you. You choose not to accept what they're telling you. So, deporting our people back to the Caribbean or to Africa helps to manage the psychic health of the ruling elite, their representatives, and the middle classes in this country. They get off on oppressing our people. And at the same time, we suffer what I can only call a psychic trauma from us constantly being under attack in this country. We suffer a psychic tearing, and we think everything's just fine. I hear you say that we have no choice. We have to accept our fate in the UK, and we have to do what we can to get through. And besides, those people who were deported to Jamaica in recent days.
What about the victims who have been murdered by these people? What about the victims of violent assault? What about the people whose lives have been ruined by drug addiction or who have been the victims of rape? What about those human tragedies?
Now, for whatever reason, what I'm actually trying to convey to you always seems to get lost, and I don't know why. Okay, so let me just be clear what I'm saying. As African people, as black people, those who want to define themselves as black, we live in the UK as colonial subjects. And when you live in a society as a colonial subject, any form of abuse can be meted out to you. You live a marginalised existence. Your concerns are ignored. Your health, your well-being, your happiness, your wealth, your prosperity, your employment prospects are all diminished while you remain a colonial subject. This is clear. It's clear for you to see. If you open your mind, look around you, look in your own life. you will see it clearly. Now, in this country, the Tories passed a law that if you were born overseas and you commit a crime in the UK, and if that crime warrants a sentence of 12 months or more, or a sentence of 4 years or more, you are automatically deported on release from the UK. Finish. That is the law of the land. Sorry, I have to stop laughing. People say that the law should be colourblind. So, if that is the law of the land, it must apply to everybody. Are you with me? It must apply to everybody. Okay, so we have a high-profile criminal. The Australian-born entertainer Rolf Harris came here in his 20s. He was convicted of child sexual abuse of 4 young girls back in, I think, 2013. He was given 5 years, 9 months. He was released a couple of years ago. He is living happily with his wife and family in the UK. He has not been deported. Why? I can give you many other examples. You've got to get serious. You've got to see the situation that we are truly in. Now, let me leave you with one final example. So, it might not be, so I can drive this home a little bit more. You might be saying, oh, well, this is just criminals. This is the criminal part of our community. Well, you know, they've got to get dealt with. Okay? I hear you. Well, UCAS, the University College Admission Service of the UK, came out recently and said that between 2013 and 2018, so for 5 years, that all university applications coming from African or those who identify as black, all those applications that was coming through to them were flagged. 52% of the whole amount for 5 years were flagged for fraud. They were saying that 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds and 20-year-olds who were applying for the first time to university, who came from our community, were applying fraudulently. As in, we were already criminalised. We were already criminals. And once you're applying, we've got to watch out because you know your community is a criminalised community, is a criminal, is riddled with criminals. And therefore, we have to watch out that our system doesn't get compromised by 18-year-old criminals. You might think, oh, well, that doesn't mean anything. Really? Do you think those people's names are not on file? Do you think that the university admissions tutor and department don't know which child has been flagged for fraud? Flagged for fraud, you know. And we're not talking the Asian people. None of this BAME rubbish. We're not talking white children or Polish children or Spanish or French children or Lithuanians that have come into the UK. No, they weren't flagging those young people. They were flagging children from our community. You can't make this shit up. Okay, so you're going to say, okay, everything I've said is true. So what can be done? What is my solution? I know you're saying that. Well, my solutions are there for another day, and therefore Warrior for Power members for us to drill into the finer detail. But I can honestly say that immediate solution is that we have to help each other. I mean, really help each other. Take time to help people move forward. Because if they move forward and they can help somebody else, then over time we will lift all boats. We will be able to move ourselves up and out of the clutches of the ruling elite. And secondly, we have to remember this is England. And we are colonial subjects living in England. So therefore, we have to act accordingly. We have to find ways to counter our colonial status in this country. You see,